What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Guitar Reviews and Reviews, back in here with one more video. All right, guys, time to get active, time to get in there. Shout out to Sharif Ali. That's the title, the YouTube channel that we're about to go over here today. He uploaded a video called How Mothers Emasculate Their Sons. I have not seen this video. This was sent to me on my Instagram at Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. It's long, but you know how to spell. If you don't, link down in the description box down below. All right, enough of the intro. Without further ado.
Hey everybody, Sharif Ali II here, Mr. Aim for I Am. And if you are a first-time visitor, thanks for joining me. And if you are a continual visitor, that means you're part of the family. So thanks for coming to another video. Listen, I have a story for you. So the other day, I took my son to the playground, and he was playing on this contraption that went round and around and around, right? You push it, and it spins the children. So there were...
Just real quick. I done had a couple of near-death experiences as a child on that contraption. You know, it's interesting when you grow up and you start to look at things a little bit different. Is the playground back in the 80s, like, I don't know if they just lacked government regulation and safety requirements. I understand what it is, but them things, like looking at them right now, like, it was a couple of things that I almost died on. You know what I'm saying? But let's move on.
There were about 5 or 6 children that are on. They're going. And then this one boy who could be no more than 10 years old stood up and said, "Stop! I want everyone to get off so we can all push. We have to learn how to push as a team so we can see how fast we can go." These were his words exactly.
A little leader. So
all the children get off. They're pushing. And then this girl, she gets knocked over. Well, the mother comes over. And she says to the girl, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yes, Mom." So then she looks at the boy. Now the boy is her son, so that means they're siblings. She looks at the boy and says, "You knocked your sister over." And he said, "No, Mom, I didn't knock her over." She said, "Yes, you did. I saw you knock her over." And he says, "No, Mom, I really believe she fell." She says to him, "You know what? You're very bossy. The other children, they don't want to listen to what you're saying. They probably want to play their own way, but you're directing everybody on what to do. You need to go on timeout because you're being too bossy and you're backlipping your mother, and I'm not going to stand for that, right?" So he goes away and he's on timeout for probably 5 minutes or so, and then he comes back and plays again. But that spoke to me, and I thought, I wonder how many men have been put on timeout because the women that they love didn't like how they were exercising their masculinity. I mean, I get it. If children talk back, I understand parents don't want that to happen, so they put their children on timeout or what have you. But the most essential part of that whole scenario was this boy stood up, and he wasn't being bossy. He was standing in his leadership role. He was exercising his masculinity, and his mother did not identify with that. So although the daughter fell, that just gave her a reason to sit him down anyway, because I don't think she liked him standing up as a leader, because she interpreted it as him being bossy.
Oh, this is a good story and a good example. Shout out to the brother. I saw he lifted up his hands up, so it looked like he was married. He said he had a son, which is probably why this situation as a father stood out to him so significantly. Here's the thing. I think that what the young son experienced, that's probably going to be the focus of his story, but I think the young daughter is going to experience something off of watching her mother do that to the young boy as well. But we'll get back to that in a second. I think that quelling the leadership of a young boy is one of the most dangerous things that you can do as a single mother. I really and truly think that it is. If he is exhibiting leadership potential and leadership tenacity, like, yeah, you know, not every parent is perfect in every situation and scenario, so maybe this was a component of the case, and I'm not saying that maybe she's a bad mother or what have you, but the mother diminishing what the son was doing through his leadership capabilities is one of the quickest ways that you can create a submissive young man who doesn't think that the value of his leadership, of how he leads people, is going to matter into the future. A man that doesn't feel confident necessarily taking life by the horns and creating their future. This is how it starts. Now, there could be some arguments in here of, whether or not the young boy actually did knock down the girl and it was the boy's word versus the mother's. So, but that's neither here nor there. I think that the point of this, at least this portion of the story, before I let him go on, is how many times does a force like that teach you subconsciously, unconsciously, or even consciously how to be submissive? Another thing is that you got to think about the dynamic between the, not even just the young boy and the mother, but then the young girl, because then the young girl is watching this occasion, whether or not she was pushed over or fell over, now has an idea in her mind of how to get a specific way. So, right. So if she was knocked over and didn't like that she was knocked over and then played some type of hurt status, and then the mother now sees that and sees the young girl on the ground, now within that young girl's mind, irrespective of the truth of what actually happened, she now has, oh, if I knock myself over and like cry or something like that, now I have control. I now have power. I can get other people to enact something onto this young boy that would eventually be a young man. So I think being a parent, and I'm not a parent, probably one of the most difficult balancing acts throughout your life, because not only are you taking components of your own personality and characteristics and understanding that well enough to impart this knowledge onto a young boy or a young girl, but it's also taking it from a macroeconomic, how the world in general is going to treat them in and around the controlled environment that you have them in. Although in the short term might seem like the right thing to do, but in the long term could be doing something such as creating mommy or daddy issues, as what I think the young man here is trying to describe. Let's let him go on. Let's let him finish the story.
I mean, I get it. If children talk back, I understand parents don't want that to happen, so they put their children on timeout or what have you. But the most essential part of that whole scenario was this boy stood up, and he wasn't being bossy. He was standing in his leadership role. He was exercising his masculinity, and his mother did not identify with that. So although the daughter fell, that just gave her a reason to sit him down anyway, because I don't think she liked him standing up as a leader, because she interpreted it as him being bossy. So how does this relate to you, ladies?
Listen, and this is the thing too. If I got a little son, right, and I see him up on the playground, and everyone is just willy-nilly around the seesaw, or whatever they call it, the centrifugal force machine that has been broken many a back in since its creation, and he says, listen, children, right, like on the top of Mount Sparta, right? And then I look and I turn around and I'm like, uh-oh, what is my young boy gonna say right now? And he says, listen, we want to go faster. We want to go faster. This is how it's done. Heave. A goddamn tear would drop from my eye. And I sit there and look at him. Go ahead, son. So what? There's going to be some casualties of war. You should have held on tighter. You should have held on tighter. All right? Let my commander-in-chief's son show you how it's done. All right? Let him show you how it's done. All right? If you're weak, you're weak. All right? Let's move on.
Well, you may be with a man who may seem indecisive, who may seem scary, not confident. And here's what you have to think. If he is a mama's boy, if you classify this man as a mama's boy, perhaps over years and years and years, he's been conditioned to become dependent. He's been conditioned to not exercise his masculinity.
Let's touch on that real quick, because I think that, and all jokes aside, like, I think all jokes aside, again, it's really hard to be a parent and to have foresight within this, because maybe she did see that he was knocking people over or what have you. But I think that the inability to let that young boy exercise his right to leadership is how you create men that are not sure-footed in their steps or confident within their steps, and are looking to the guidance of other people in and around them to understand what should I do this or should I not? And if I do this, will I get punished? Which is a huge deterrence, especially in our society. I think, though, to a degree, it can help, but it's a balance, right? Because if you have someone that is completely full steam ahead without considering how the actions will impact those around them, perhaps discipline to a degree will help them consider into the future. But still, though, there's something in there where You know, you're not going to be able to climb to the top unless you are sure-footed enough to be able to do that. And sometimes you can't ask for opinions around you. You got to just do what you think is right. All right, let's let the brother finish up.
He's been conditioned to not be a leader. It's like going to the gym, right? If I were to go to the gym and have a dumbbell in my left hand and in my right, and I'm constantly doing like this with my left, this one is going to get stronger. But I'm just holding the other dumbbell in my other hand. This one is not. So this muscle becomes stronger and this muscle begins to atrophy. And that's exactly what's happening in his life. Perhaps his dependency muscles have been strengthened and his leadership muscles have atrophied. So what can you do to assist your man? Well, the first and most important thing is to encourage him to be empowered. Encourage him to step in his independence, encourage him to be a leader, encourage him to be confident, encourage him to make decisions. Once you do that and you begin to play yourself down, he'll have no choice but to stand up. And if he does not stand up, then perhaps he'll need some professional help or some other interventions for his man to really be pulled out and to be.
Yeah, you might need some therapy. You might need some therapy to help you forgive. To forgive. There's a lot of us that need therapy to help us forgive our mother as well as our father. There's a lot of us. A lot of us, especially in the melanated bunch, we suffer from dysfunction. Dysfunction from a mother and a father of a far gone society, right? And rule number one, as you come into your adulthood and you're really trying to find yourself, might be forgiveness, right? And sometimes that you don't have the faculties or the facilities to be able to do that yourself. So you might need the help of professions, of a professional.
Become that leader that you know that he's capable of being. So the moral of this story is, if you are with a man who may be indecisive and is not confident, then take his past history into consideration. And if he is a mama's boy, more than likely his dependency muscles have been strengthened. So it would be up to you to encourage him. Don't force him to be empowered. Encourage him to be empowered. There's a difference between encouraging somebody and forcing someone.
Yeah.
And I think you know what the difference is. He doesn't need to be strong-armed. He just needs to be gently nudged and shown that you are a leader, Coach. You are a man, and I know that you're capable of taking care of me and our family. So as always, guys, thanks for watching this.
All right, shout out to the brother. I'm gonna leave a link to his video down in the description box down below. Very small YouTube channel. Came across a story and thought it would be good to be able to go over. The last point that he concluded on, to nudge, to open up. I just want to conclude and say, for ladies out there, it is not your job to fix a man that has mother issues. It's not your job. If you want to stick with him through that and inspire him through that, then, you know, kudos to you. Kudos to you. But it is not your job. It's something that as a man, I need to be accountable for. I need to be accountable that I have some lingering issues and I have some ish that I have to work out and I have to seek help on myself. Yes, a nudge would be dope. And I'm sure that there's many men that's down in here that watch this channel that have gotten a nudge, a valuable nudge from a significant other that helped them get on the step to healing. But you can't make a man do that he inevitably doesn't want to. You understand what I'm saying? So I wanted to leave you guys with that quick thought. Fantastic video, fantastic story. I think this was a fantastic example. Guys, go on my Instagram. As you find awesome videos like this across the internet, put them in my DMs and let's have a conversation about it. Hopefully you guys learned something here today, all right? We're a society of overexposure and under therapy. It is what it is, as long as you get the help that you deserve. Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Media tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Feel free to send me an email, hit me up. I got a Patreon as well. We talk about mental health up there as well. Trust and believe. We've heard some stories up there. Trust me, we've heard some stories. I'm glad that we were able to formulate a bond around the brothers in order to help them get through. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody one more again. Links to everything that I'm talking about down in the description box down below. Until next time, YouTube.